NamRA Kachenu, NamRA yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA yetu, NamRA Kachenu, NamRA yetu.
NamRA, serving with passion.
Hello and welcome to this edition of NamRA Kachenu, your trusted source in all things related to tax, customs and excise matters. I'm Shipena Njambi-Kuhanga and I'm delighted to be your host for the next half an hour or so. In recent developments, the NamRA leadership engages the Prime Minister, the Windhoek Industrial and Agricultural Show hits. Last but not the least, NamRA hosts the World Customs Organization Regional Seminar on Supply Chain Integrity. All this and more will be coming shortly. Stay tuned. The NamRA leadership, led by the board chairperson, Ananakale Kawana, engaged with the Prime Minister, Dr. Elijah Ngorare, who was on a familiarization visit at the Ministry of Finance.
The engagement focused on strengthening collaboration and aligning NamRA strategies with national priorities. NamRA Commissioner Sam Shivute outlined objectives and operational priorities.
Put administrative effort, but to conduct the administrative effort, it comes with a lot of fight and all those things. But we have to do it through the law.
On her part, the Minister of Finance, Erika Shifuda, reaffirmed the government's support for NamRA in the execution of its national mandate.
Thank you very much for gracing us on this meeting. We, like I have said, there was a time when we used to hear customs and excise, inland revenue, those years. Then there was an act of parliament that established the Namibia Revenue Agency.
The Prime Minister called for unity within NamRA, a culture, professionalism and accountability.
And it has also been said that in terms of the work that has been done since the inception, we have worked very well together.
Doctor, I'm sure you would want to enhance your knowledge. I know you love to read, and it's in particular given by the Commission.
Thank you very much.
You did not author it.
NamRA successfully participated in the Windhoek Agricultural and Livestock Show from the 30th of September to the 4th of October 2025 at Camerton Hall. Now the team assisted visitors with ITIS portal registration, e-filing and tax inquiries, while also sharing key information on customs and excise related matters.
It was confiscated in my home. Did you get any document from us which shows that?
So what they just said, they say it was confiscated, right? And it's at the state warehouse.
It was sick because those days we had a typing pool, and if they made a mistake, they used this nail polish.
To
With
erase.
the mistake, and they have to retype it. So if you were too far behind proofreading what they typed.
NamRA hosted the 4th ABF World Customs Organization Regional Seminar on Supply Chain Integrity. Now, the week-long seminar brought together customs officials as well as private sector stakeholders from across the African continent to strengthen cooperation in terms of securing a global cargo supply chain.
If you don't take notes, if you are not recording, you'll be wasting your time and the time of those who sponsored this workshop. The C is about what are you going to change, either to start doing or to stop doing. I know also some of you are experts in your own right, and I'm very happy to see our Master Ben Law here. He's our expert on the rules of origin. He did a very wonderful presentation last week to the entire NamRA, and I hope during the session he will be more vocal and also share a lot of experience as well.
There's a famous statement from a New Zealand politician, Sir Aparanahata, who was the first Māori gentleman to be in the New Zealand Parliament. And he was once asked, what is the most important thing? And he replied in Māori language, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. And that means the people, the people, the people. We have to actually take what we learn this week, take it back to our agencies and apply it, and as the Commissioner said, to teach others and to start those conversations in our own agencies.
So if we look at trade as a holistic industry, it varies of course, but as a conservative figure, 1 in 5 jobs in the world are linked to trade. So 20% of the international workforce is linked to trade. That's an enormous workforce. And what this intervention at the Enforcement Committee was saying is that the amount of people that are in these key positions, so of that workforce, and are choosing to use their positions for criminal purposes, that number is growing and it's concerning.
After the break, we'll be joined by Eva-Liisa Kangandjela, a senior tax officer at refund verification within domestic taxes at NamRA. Welcome back. Joining us in the studio is Eva-Liisa Kangandjela, a senior tax officer at refund verification within domestic tax at NamRA. Eva-Liisa, it's an honor to have you join us today.
Thank you, Chipre.
Welcome to NamRA Kachenu.
Thank you.
Great. Now let's kick off this session with a brief introduction of yourself. Tell us who Eva-Liisa is and also give us an overview of your professional background.
My name is Eva-Liisa Kangandjela, a senior tax officer within the domestic tax at Windhoek Regional Office. I joined NamRA in 2021, but prior to that, I've worked as a custom officer for over 9 years. But currently, I'm at the refund unit.
Can you briefly explain to us what refund verification entails and why it's an important aspect in domestic tax process?
When a taxpayer submits their returns and there is credit balance, that credit represents money, and that money is owed to the taxpayer. In other words, it's a potential refund. However, any refund can be paid out. By law, it needs to be verified. This means that we need to verify the documents that are being claims towards that refund before we can process the refund. Once we process and we see that it's valid, we then pay it out.
Thank you so much, Eva-Liisa. Now, what are some of the common reasons that triggers a refund?
There are common reasons for refund is when a taxpayer is overtaxed on its normal income by the employer. That can be one of the reasons. Another one is when a physical overpayment is paid over to NamRA. And another one is also when there is additional allowable deductions that a taxpayer has extra deductions beyond its beyond its pension contribution. For example, when a taxpayer have study policies, retirement annuities, those can reduce the taxable amount, the taxable income, and may result into a refund.
Great. Well, how long does the refund verification process usually take, and what can taxpayers do to avoid any delays?
Normally, the refund verification process takes 2 weeks. We therefore encourage for a smooth process and faster way of paying out the refund. We ask client to please update their banking details with NamRA, and there should be no unpaid liabilities on the account, and make sure that their files, their returns are all submitted.
Great. What do you mean by there should be no unpaid liabilities? Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
You should not owe NamRA any money. You should make sure that all the interest and penalties are paid before you can ask a request for your refund.
Great. Now, what happens in a case where a taxpayer owes NamRA and also NamRA owes them in that case? How do you treat that case?
If there's a credit on the account, we offset, but we don't offset without informing the client. Because currently NamRA has a program of tax amnesty which is running. We therefore encourage them to take part, where their interest, if they pay the credit due, they then benefit from the interest and penalty being waived off, so that money can then become a credit.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that, Eva-Liisa. Now, what are some of the documents or information usually requested from taxpayers during this refund verification process now, especially for individuals and business taxpayers?
The type of documents that we request depends on the type of refund. For a study policy contribution, we will need a contribution certificate, and for overpayment, we will need the proof of payment and also a motivation letter, just a short motivation letter explaining why a payment was done.
Great. Eva-Liisa, thank you so much for the information. Any final remarks you'd like to share with our clients before we close off?
My message to taxpayer is that it's compulsory to file by law. Kindly submit your returns. If you are struggling, we have NamRA offices countrywide. Or alternatively, you can contact our customer care center. There will be officials to assist you on 081 95 94 000. And please, should you have your banking details changed, visit our NamRA offices with a bank stamped confirmation letter as well as your ID to have it changed at NamRA as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. We wish you continued success in your role at NamRA.
Thank you.
Great. Now, that was Eva-Liisa Kangandjela, a senior tax officer at refund verification within domestic taxes. We'll take a short break for now, but when we return, we'll dive into educational topics and share some useful tips for our taxpayers and traders. Be sure to stick around. In the next insert, we'll look at the obligations of every taxpayer.
Good day, my name is Jeremiah Kaundu. Today I'm going to talk to you about obligations of a taxpayer. There are about 4 key obligations of taxpayers, and I'll take you through all of them. The first one is registration of all taxes. As an individual taxpayer, for instance, you are obligated to register for income tax as the core tax type. Okay? Then if you are a corporate entity, for instance, there are other tax types that you are obligated to register for. For example, VAT, you might qualify to register for VAT. You might also qualify to register for pay-as-you-earn if you have employees. So all in all is that if you meet the threshold or the requirement of a particular tax type, you are required to register, and you ought to know these various requirements. Second obligation is that of filing your tax returns. So once you have registered for the applicable tax types, you then go ahead and file your tax returns on time. Okay, that means by the due date, you have to file your tax returns. The third obligation is to pay your taxes again on time. This follows the assessment of your tax returns, and where there's a liability that arises from that assessment, you ought to pay that liability on time, not less, because then it attracts penalties and interest, and we don't want that. Okay? So the fourth obligation is that of you as a taxpayer needs to accurately declare your tax return or represent in a fair manner, in a correct, accurate manner, your tax records or accounting records. Okay? That means if the tax administration chooses to audit you and check and test that accuracy, we should be able to find that you correctly declared your tax returns. That's all for today. Thank you very much.
Here is the trivia of duties.
Did you know that NamRA's Customs and Excise Department has 4 divisions? These are Trade Facilitation, Enforcement and Compliance, Technical Services and Excise Management, and lastly, Border Control and Operational Compliance, also known as BCOC.
To make a payment for tax debt, well, here are the available options for payment.
Good day, viewers. I am Jean-Marie Pretorius, and today I'll be taking you through how to make tax payments. Paying your dues does not have to be difficult. The Namibia Revenue Agency has made domestic tax payments simpler, faster, and more accessible. First, you log into your ITAS portal to confirm what you owe. Then you choose the method of payment you would like to pay. We have 3 available options: EFT, direct deposit, and cash or card payments at any of the NamRA cash offices. After making your payment, send your payment to NamRA's accounts at Bank of Namibia. For all tax types besides VAT, you will be using Receiver of Revenue accounts at 165001. For VAT only, use VAT dedicated account 165060. The NamRA branch code is 980172. For all international payments, the SWIFT code is capitalized CBK NNAX. Do not forget to include your tax identification number and the tax period on the deposit slip. Prefer paying in person? Not an issue. NamRA cash offices accept Namibian dollars and South African rand, plus debit or credit card payments via point of sale machines. NamRA offices are open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 1. The Windhoek Regional Office is open until 3 o'clock. When paying as an EFT, use the structured reference format. That is 1/6-0658588/14/201806. Let's simplify that a bit. The 1 is for the payment type. The 06 is for the registration office code. The 0658588 is your TIN. That is your tax identification number. The 14 is for the tax type. The 201806 is for the tax period. Having any trouble in making a payment? Do not hesitate to call the NamRA call center at 081-9594-000. Stay compliant and avoid penalties by paying on time with the right details. Paying your taxes does not have to be hard. With NamRA, it's fast, it's clear, and it's hassle-free.
In a previous episode, we asked, name the different types of warehouses used in the excise industry. Here is the answer. Customs and Excise Storage Warehouse, Special Storage Warehouse, Manufacturing Warehouse, Special Manufacturing Warehouse, Primary and Secondary Manufacturing Warehouse, and Special Customs and Excise Manufacturing Warehouse. The question for this episode is, what are the 3 things that can delay the payment of your refund? Kindly email your answer to NamRA Kachenu at namra.org.na. The due date for submission is the 23rd of October 2025. We will announce the winner in the next episode.
And with that, we conclude this edition of NamRA Kachenu. We trust that the information shared has been both valuable and insightful. Join us again in 2 weeks' time for the latest updates and discussions. But until then, stay informed, stay compliant. And from all of us here at NamRA Kachenu, take care.